Hi everyone. So today we will continue our Angular series, and here I will tell you about services, dependency injection, and dependency injection hierarchy. So let's start with first of all service. So in Angular, a service is a reusable piece of code. I earlier also told you that it is something which most of the components want to use, but instead of creating a new service again and again, we create one service and reuse all over the code wherever it is needed. So basically, it handles business logic. Now, what's your business logic means? Business logic means that if you want to write a service which calculates discounts or it which calculates your tax. So these type of activities are done or written inside business logic. Now, for data retrieval, like HTTP calls, you want to get the data from API, from any API. So, you write a service where you call that API. Now, you must think that we can write this HTTP calls in component also instead of service. So, yeah, you can, but it is not advisable. Typically, Angular says that you should not write any HTTP calls in your components because components job is what is to just focus on the UI and deal with how data is displayed, okay, not with from where data is coming. So for handling data fetching, processing and business logic, we have service, okay, and we are keeping them separate because it is easy to understand, read or debug the code. So if someone asks you that can you put HTTP call inside a component, so it can be used there if you put inside any service and then you inject that service in your component. Okay, now data retrieval is clear. Now for state management also, state management means any state which is common or shared between some components. Okay, so for example, for storing and displaying user login status, then you can use services. For utility functions also you can use services. Like suppose I have name and I want to just obtain the first name and convert that name into uppercase, then I will use a service where I will write that code. So, why we are using services? Because it is reusable, because it is singleton, that it is created once and it is reusable wherever it is needed. It can be easily tested, separated from UI. It makes the components simple and most importantly, that it is easy to debug. Okay, now the question is how to create a service. Okay, so for creating a service in command line we have this syntax, okay, this command. So you have to write ng generate service user, or you can write ng g so s user. Okay, now when you create a service, then there are something which you should keep in your mind, that you have created a service, then you have to use at the rate injectable decorator to make it a service. Okay, now this is whenever you create a service, this will automatically pop up, but you need to verify it. Now what does this mean? Provided in root, this means that this service is available throughout the application. Okay, so once this is here mentioned, you don't need to mention the service in your module providers. Okay, now when I have created the service, then how can I use that service in my component? Then I need to inject that service. So how can you inject? You can inject by using the constructor of that class. You have to go to .ts file. There in constructor you will give your service, and this is how your service is injected in your component. So this is service. Now we will come to another topic, which is dependency injection. Now dependency injection is basically a design pattern where a class, here class means my component, receives its dependencies from an external source rather than creating them itself. Okay, you are not creating any service or dependencies using a new keyword. Okay, so you are just injecting them, like here we have done for services. So this is basically dependency injection also, when you are giving your service inside your constructor. Okay, so Angular has a built-in dependency injection system, where when you provide that service into constructor, it is automatically done. Okay, now there are levels of dependency injection. Like if you use provided in root, okay, like this, then it is singleton shared across the app. But when you create inside component, that means in .ts file you have at the rate component decorator, right? So there you will write one providers array, okay, and in that providers array you will give your service. So this means that you have created a new instance for that component only. Okay, so that means only that component, or though that component's child component can use that service. And if for if module, that means all the components or directives or pipes present in that particular module can use that service. So it is scope limited to service, to that module. Okay, now, what are the advantages of dependency injection? Again, it makes code reusable, easier testing, loose coupling, and improved maintainability. Okay. Now, provided in root also makes one thing clear, that it is available. Okay, but there is one important concept, that is tree shaking. So, this allows tree shaking, and tree shaking means that you can, not you, but it's like Angular can remove any unused code present there. Okay, so what happens, that Angular's built-in tool like Webpack, it removes the unused code to make it work faster, to make the bundle size smaller. So if it is provided, that provided in is equal to root, that means it is uh, making Angular to detect if there is any code which is unused and can automatically remove, and that is also safe. Okay, it is not uh, it is not making any other thing effect. Okay, so this is one thing important. Now, this makes smaller in size, faster to load, that is clear. Now, why only provided in root is tree shakeable? Because of this, Angular knows, okay, in the root, that what service or where the service is provided, and whether that service is actually used anywhere or not. If the service is not used, so just remove it. Okay, without that, if I have provided like here as providers, then I can't do, because it is module specific. So I don't know that whether this particular service is being used or not, that particular piece of code is being used or not, because I can only keep the track in the root. Okay, so this is important, this can be asked also. Now there is dependency injection hierarchy, which I explained. Basically this is only dependency hierarchy. Okay, but a little bit if you want to know, so some more details, that how it manages the di hierarchy. It uses a tree structure of injectors. So each injector provides services to its own level and all of its child components. Okay, so it will make a tree. So now, first of all, obviously, root level will be your prime, okay, your root injector, which will be available for your whole application. Then it will be your module, okay, because components after your root, there is one big thing, your module, which has several modules, several components, right? So then it would be module level. Then individual component level will be there, and then the directive level. So this is the hierarchy, and it uses what tree structure, and where you provide a service decides that how many instances of the services will be created and where the service is accessible. Like if you haven't provided in root, you have provided in module, then it will automatically decide that okay, this service is created here and its accessibility scope is there only. Okay, so each injector can inherit services from its parent, obviously. Okay, now summing up the whole lecture, so what we understood, we understood that services should handle logic, not components. Okay, Angular's dependency injection system automatically provides services. Okay, and provided in root makes services singleton and tree shakeable. Tree shakeable is important because it removes the unused code. Angular has a hierarchical injector system for managing service scope. Okay, and that is what this root module component directive. Okay, and if you want to take screenshot of these notes, you can. Okay, all the important points which I thought that you should know apart from explaining, I have also written here. Thank you. And for more such content, please like, share, subscribe, and let's meet in our another video.